flabby. Hello, Steve, Canadian Sasquatch, coming at you with a Mead Monday. That's right, we're doing a Mead Monday right now. Right now. Your questions right now. Today's question, acid blends. But before we get into that, just like to take a minute here to say thank you guys for watching these videos. If you have not already, thumbs up, just because it's a video, thumbs up. Subscribe to that button down there. Also, check out the Canadian Sasquatch Brewery store. There's a link down below. It's got a link to Meadology, the book. It's got a link to my shirts, and it's got a link to a bunch of other mead making supplies, ingredients, fermenters, hydrometers, all that good stuff that everybody needs to make meads with. If you use those links, then I make a little bit from Amazon because they're all Amazon affiliate links. And without further ado, let's get into your question, which is essentially just acid blends. So acid blend, what is it? It's essentially a blend of citric, malic, and tartaric acid. So citric, malic, tartaric acid, which are three acids that are commonly found in most fruit. Essentially, they just make the little white powder out of all the acids found in those fruits. And why do we add it? One, during fermentation, the pH level can change quite a bit. It can either become too base or too acidic. And if it's too base or alkaline, then we need to add some acid to get that pH back down. Because remember, acid is the lower levels of the pH scale. Alkaline or base is the upper levels, with 7 being like right in the middle. So if it becomes too alkaline, then we need to add an acid to bring that back down into a range that the yeast like to ferment at. And they like to ferment down around the 3.6 to 3.8 range. So that's one reason why we would add it. Another reason is if the mead or wine tastes flat or flabby. And when somebody says that it tastes flabby, they really mean that, like, there's no acidity in it whatsoever. So it just kind of like just flabby. So we add a little bit of acid to pick up those flavors, to turn that flatness into something a little bit more sharp, make the flavors a little bit more bright, less flabby and more bright, just pop in. So the other thing about acid blends is, when do you add them? So one of the issues that I have with a lot of recipes is they add the acid blend right up front. And especially when you're making a mellow, which has fruit, which the acids are made from initially, there's no real point in adding that acid, because once you add the acid, you can't take it away. I mean, you can add calcium carbonate and all that stuff to bring the pH back up towards more of a base or alkaline part of the scale. But why add it if you don't need it to start with? Just go ahead, start with the recipe, make the mead or the wine, and then if you notice that you have issues with acidity and there not being enough, then you add the acids. At that point, you don't add the acids ahead of time and hope that you didn't add too much. Typically, when you're adding the acid blend, like a teaspoon will bump up the acidity by like 0.15% per gallon, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is. So you need to be very careful on like how much you use when you're adding it, because it's concentrated. So yeah, I always want to add it when the mead needs it, not preemptively or anything like that. I'm definitely more of a reactive person when it comes to adding things like that. So yeah, I usually wait until there's an issue with the fermentation, and rarely if there's a problem with the fermentation, it's not because the acidity is too low, it's because it's too high and you have to add calcium carbonate to lower that acidity level. Because like I said, most of the time we're dealing with ingredients that already have a variety of acids in them. So I wait until after the fermentation is done and after things have clarified, and so I know what the flavor tastes like. And if at that point, if it's tasting flat or flabby, then I'll go ahead and start adding some acid to brighten and bring those flavors to the forefront. And then with that said, I don't actually use acid blend. I use lemon juice. I use freshly squeezed lemon juice to add the acidity. And I use freshly squeezed because quite often in the bottles they have other ingredients to pasteurize or to stabilize it, like the metabisulfites and the sorbates and all that stuff. And I don't always want to add those at the same time I'm adding the acid. So fresh squeezed lemon juice, just a little bit. It brightens it up so quick. You don't need all that much. I will sometimes use like half a lemon for a 3-gallon batch just to get that acidity where I want. And it doesn't really add any extra flavor to it. It just brightens the current flavors that are in there. So why do I use lemon juice instead of the acid blend? Well, acid blend is a white powder, and we already deal with so many white powders as it is. I just feel like reducing the number of white powders we use reduces the chances of accidentally using the wrong one at the wrong time. Like, sure, they're all labeled and all that, but quite often they're in the same bottle, they're in the same bag. It's still possible to like glance over, see, oh yeah, there's the sodium metabisulfite right beside the acid blend. So you grab the metabisulfite one instead of the acid blend, not really paying attention. It's just one less thing to have to think about when you're going through the process. It's one less processed thing that we're putting into our meads. Not necessarily organic or whatever, just less processed, because adding lemon juice to me just gives me the warm fuzzies of doing something a little bit more clean on the whole, rather than adding a teaspoon of chemicals or acids or whatever. So that's why I don't actually use acid blends. I don't even have a jar of an acid blend anymore. I used it for the first couple of months of my mead making stuff. The first couple of recipes that I followed said to put it up front, and I remember having problems with my fermentation. It was because my acidity was too high, so I had to add. At the time, I used sodium bicarbonate because that's what I had, baking soda. So it was kind of silly to add the acid up front when it turned out to be too much to start with because of everything else that was going in. So yeah, so it just, don't add the acid blend until you absolutely need it. If you don't want to be adding chemicals or processed stuff, like any more processed stuff to what you're making, then just lemon juice. That's all you need. Grab a lemon, juice it, pour it in there, and you're good to go. That's pretty much all there is to acids and acid blends. And if you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. Or if you didn't like it, you can go ahead and give me a thumbs down. I'm cool either way. If you haven't yet, I invite you guys to hit that subscribe button that's down there. And if you want to be notified, be part of the notification squad when my videos come out, there's a bell down there beside the thumbs up and the subscribe button. You ring that bell and you'll be notified when I post a video, which currently I'm doing Mead Mondays and Thirsty Thursday Mead reviews. So yeah, couple videos every week. And if you guys have questions, I need your guys' questions. Hit me up in the comments down below, or in the description box there. There's the my social media links. You feel free to hit me up on any of those. And yeah, with that, my friends, we're calling this Mead Monday a close. So be sure to have a pint of awesome. I know I will. Cheers, everybody.